Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and it is another brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And joining me on today's episode is Steelcity Scarecrow. Steelcity, how you doing today, man?
I am doing great. I'm so happy to be here.
Hey, I'm excited that you're here. Everybody that's watching is excited that you're here. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. But before we do that, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into this interview. So cool. Steelcity, something that we do here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks is I always ask, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one, and right now you're dressed as the villain Overhaul, so I'm taking it as you're a villain. So tell everybody, who is Steelcity Scarecrow?
So my name is Dominic. I go by Dom. I'm 22 years old. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is where the Steel City and the username comes from. Hey. Scarecrow is just my favorite Batman villain, and so I liked the alliteration of the username, so that's kind of why I went with it. But like most cosplayers and just, people in this community in general, I've always liked, I was like a comic book guy growing up. I loved watching Teen Titans and Justice League. I even, Young Justice too. I loved all that growing up. I really started to hit my stride though in this community in high school. My high school had a comic book club, so I was a member for all 4 years of high school. I was the president for the last 2 years. Nice. So I got to do a lot of cool stuff in that community. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. And when I first started cosplaying is actually through that, because we would take field trips to Steel City Con, which is a Comic-Con in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. That was where I did my first cosplay. My first cosplay was Beast Boy from Teen Titans.
Nice.
I had a great time doing that. Yeah, it's on my TikTok too. I actually redid it a little while ago, but so that was my first cosplay. Did a couple more. I did the Flash at one point. I've done that a few times. And then, when I was in college, I was just kind of hanging out and I was like, you know what? I love cosplaying, but like, I really only do it seasonally. Like I only really do it when cons are around. So I was like, what if I start making like social media about it? Because that way I could do it more consistently. And so I started my TikTok in late April of 2021. I've been only on it for a little less than a year now, and it's been a wonderful experience. So I'm so glad I made the decision to start kind of building something like this.
That's awesome. And that's how I met Steel City, was through TikTok. And when I had interviewed Best Demiguise, whose interview that you can check out here on the YouTube channel, that was one thing that she was saying is that to piggyback off of what you said about cosplay kind of just being a seasonal thing with TikTok and social media, but I'll say TikTok even more. It gave cosplayers space to, wear all of their outfits and make these awesome videos and, stitch and doing duets with other cosplayers and stuff like that. And, I've seen the cosplays that you've done on your channel, and like, you have some sweet cosplays, man. And now the thing about TikTok is that because Steel City, he posts a lot of videos, and a majority of the videos that I've seen are him as Dobby from My Hero Academia. Yeah. Now, I was going through your archive, and like I was just like, oh wow, like he did Sun Eater. I saw the Joker. So it's like with TikTok, you have to go through the archives to find everything. You know what I'm saying? But I just think it's awesome, like the amount of costumes that you have done. And with My Hero being one of my favorites, as you can see, I have Deku right here, and you're cosplaying as Overhaul, and Overhaul, he is my favorite villain from My Hero Academia. So I should have prepared for this. I'm sorry, everybody that's watching. I should have worn my Deku cosplay. Deku, I let you down. My bad. I'm sorry. My Hero Academia fans, I let all of you guys down because Overhaul's right here. He probably has Eri tied up, and I'm not doing anything, and I'm supposed to be the hero. Like I let the city down. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. Okay, calm down, bring it back. All right. Now, I just wanted to say, to piggyback off of what you were saying about like, when you first got into cosplay and everything, it's just like you're a big DC guy, I take it, because like you said, Scarecrow, he's one of your favorites. You went with that name. Tell me, like, who are some of your other favorite characters from the DC universe?
I've always been a big fan of the Flash ever since I was very young. That was kind of one of my first, like, really, because when I did my Beast Boy one, like, I was proud of it, but it was very much like a budget cosplay. It was just kind of like I'm 16 years old. I don't have a whole lot of cash. Let's put together what we can. But Flash was the first one where I was like, I'm invested in this. I'm doing this. I'm going to buy something that's like, really, really nice. So I actually still have it. I've been meaning to make a couple of videos on TikTok about it just to kind of show it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Beast Boy. I love the Flash villains. Obviously I love Scarecrow. I love all of Batman and the Flash is like Rogues Gallery. I love all of those. Yeah. Captain Cold is one of my favorites. He's on like my cosplay, dream list. I also really like Blue Beetle. That might be a cosplay I want to do in the future, but I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of that. But yeah, I just love like all of the Teen Titan characters, all the Young Justice characters, all of the villains from like Batman and the Flash. Even Superman has some pretty cool villains that I like Livewire. I really love Livewire. I don't think she gets enough credit, but she's like, I love the Suicide Squad too. The movie was amazing. Yeah. Even like the animated films that I've seen, like Hell to Pay and Assault on Arkham. So yeah, I think DC really has some, like, obviously I love Marvel too. I love all the movies, but I think something about DC's characters just really stick with me.
And I definitely feel that. And to piggyback, because you were mentioning Scarecrow, Beast Boy, the Titans. Have you watched Titans on HBO Max? And
I started it. I haven't finished it yet. I've just been.
You need to watch season 3 because season 3, Scarecrow's the main villain up there.
Oh, okay.
Scarecrow's the main villain. You got Beast Boy. I mean, I know Titans when it first came out, like a lot of people, they weren't feeling it because they just, of course, with the costumes and stuff like that. But I was one of those people that joked the costumes, and then I gave it a try, and I was just like, man, this show isn't that bad. But season 3 is the best season so far, and I love what they're doing with the show. So if you're a huge Teen Titans fan, I would highly recommend checking it out because it's like they have that DC lore there. And of course, it's like they mention the other superhero like Batman and Superman and stuff, but they don't make appearances up there because, copyrights and movies and all that other stuff. But I just think it's cool that, you based a lot of your earlier costumes on DC stuff, and now you made the jump to My Hero Academia, which in my opinion is the best superhero comic /manga that's out there right now. I mean, like, comics are cool and everything, but it's just something about My Hero. If you grew up watching, watching, superhero cartoons and reading the comics, then you'll appreciate My Hero Academia because it's like they took everything from, all like Horikoshi. He took all of this stuff and then put it in this series, and you could see the nods to other heroes and villains in this. So I want to ask you now, who are some future My Hero Academia cosplays that you have lined up? If you want to tell everybody right now.
Yeah, I definitely got a few that I am I'm playing around with. I think the first one that I'm going to actually I think my next newest one is either going to be Kurogiri or Tomura Shigaraki. I plan on doing one of those two for like my next one because I don't really use a lot of wigs in my cosplay, as I'm sure as you probably noticed. I want to get better at it because I'm just not good at styling wigs, which is why I don't use them. So I'm hoping to do more in the future. And that being said, I also want to cosplay Denki Kaminari and Shinso. So those are another two that are up there. One of these days I'll probably try to do something with Tenya Ida, but that's another one where it's like I don't really know where to begin with that. So that's kind of lower on the list. I want to do Twice as well one of these days. I would love that. Just keep going with the villains.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. So why the villains more than the heroes? Because a lot of times you see a lot of people, they'll cosplay a few of the villains, but majority of the cosplays that they do for My Hero are the students, or sometimes they'll do the heroes, but it's not often where I see somebody where it's like their main line of costumes are the villains. So why the villains more than the heroes?
I just really like the way that the villains are written. Like Shigaraki is one of my favorite villains just of all time outside of even My Hero. I just think he's written so well where it's like, I really like the tragic villain archetype, but I think some media can kind of delve a little bit too much into it where it's like, yeah, this person dealt with a not great experience, but they're still choosing to be a villain. So they're still a bad guy. But with Shigaraki, they do it like, yeah, he had this, but like they still make you understand like he's still choosing to do this. He's still a bad guy. So he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Even like Dabi, I just think he looks like aesthetically, he just looks amazing. I really love seeing Dabi cosplayers on TikTok because I just think something about that character, everyone kind of adds their own little personal flair to it, where it's like no two are identical, even if it's just very slight details, either in the way they look or the way they kind of carry themselves. So I really wanted to like see what mine would look like. Now I want to make some changes to my Dobby cosplay in the future. Maybe just like get more like realistic burn makeup going on once I get better learning how to do that. But yeah, so with the villains of My Hero, I just think whether it be, I think they're written really well, or like you have characters like Mr. Compress, where I think their quirk is something where it's like, I've never seen a power like that before. Like, obviously, that's one of the things I love the most about My Hero is they have these powers that are like, I've never seen any, like making a new power and having it be good is not an easy task. But like My Hero has some of these quirks that I'm like, I never would have thought about that, but that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Love the way the villains are.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about My Hero too, because like I had said earlier, of course you have your traditional superhero abilities and whatnot, but then you get some of these quirks where it's like, oh wow, like you said, I never would have thought about that. And it's crazy because I don't know if you watched Smallville when it was originally on TV, but I started watching it again, and on one of the episodes, this guy, he had the ability where it's like whenever he touched people, they would I'm having a brain fart, Sugar Rocky's quirk,
decay.
They would decay, and I was just like, yo, like the horror coach, you watched this episode of Smallville and just like, hey, I love that ability. I've never seen it anywhere, and because Smallville really isn't canon, I'm gonna take it. And I mean, it's just excuse me, it's just interesting to see the things that Horikoshi does with some of the heroes and whatnot. And something I wanted to piggyback off of what you had said was about like how you don't style wigs, you want to use your own hair. When I had interviewed the third Pharaoh, and his interview, it is coming up for Black History Month, so make sure that you guys check that out. But he has dreads, and he was telling me that with a lot of his costumes, he doesn't want to wear wigs because he wants to show off his natural hair. And I think that it's unique when you can cosplay as somebody and you can make it your own. Like when I cosplay as Jotaro, and even when I cosplay as Deku, I didn't really get comments about my beard as Deku, but as Jotaro and a lot of JoJo groups, people were just like, oh wow, like Jotaro with a beard, like that's awesome. Like I never would imagine seeing Jotaro with a beard. So I think it's cool and it's unique, and it's what sets everybody apart when it comes to cosplay, because again, at the end of the day, cosplay and wearing these costumes, everybody is going to have on the same outfit for the most part, but it's like, what are you doing to stand out and separate yourself? And like that's what I love about your cosplays, is because it's like you're unique in your own way with you're welcome, without wearing wigs. It's just like when I was seeing your Dobby stuff, I was just like, I think that that's interesting that it's like he doesn't have the wig on, but it's like I still know that that's Dobby. And that's what I love about cosplay, is because you're making that character come to life by you wearing that outfit and just doing the mannerisms and whatnot. So pinky's up to you for being awesome. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I want to take it back to the con scene. So before the pandemic happened and whatnot, were you still attending cons and cosplaying? Oh, so
what's up?
No, go ahead.
So I was attending cons. I haven't been to a con in a little while. The last time I went to one was like I think 2018. It was Steel City Con in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And whenever I go to cons, I kind of alternate between Beast Boy and the Flash, just sort of depending on what the vibe is. Like especially this last con that I went to in 2018, I did my Flash cosplay because if you've watched the Flash TV show, John Wesley Shipp Jr. was there, who's Barry's dad, and I got to meet him, and so I wore my Flash costume, and I got him to sign. I have like a Silver Age Flash helmet that he signed, and then also at a later con, Teddy Sears, who does Zoom, he signed it too. So I have that. Awesome. It's one of my favorite things. I think I posted about it on TikTok a little while ago, but it's like one of my favorite things that I own. And I'm like, what are the chances that like the two actors known for wearing this helmet are also the two that have signed it? Like that wasn't planned at all. I want to get it signed by more Flash actors in the future, because I really like that show. But I love that. So yeah, going to cons is just such a wonderful experience. Even my first one, I mean, when I did my Beast Boy costume, it was a couple's costume. Me and my partner at the time did Beast Boy and Raven. Because originally it was going to be a group costume where us and like our friend group were going to do Teen Titans, but everyone else kind of fell off on that. We were the only two who ended up. And so we still went there. We had a fun time, but it's like I walk in, and as soon as I walk in the door, I see this guy who's in a Deathstroke cosplay, and it's this crazy suit of armor, and here I am with my green painted skin and a t-shirt, and he's like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" I'm like, "Can I get a picture with you?" Is the better question. Like, that was amazing. And then one of the just like stars aligned moments that I had was we ran into this other group that was also cosplaying Teen Titans, and they had like a Cyborg, a Starfire, Robin, Terra, even. They were missing a Beast Boy and a Raven. So we were like, "Oh, what? What are the odds?"
Who's that cosplayer?
Baroni Alley.
So we got to, and we were like playing the theme song and all just kind of like jamming out in like the artist's alley. It's just what I love. That's what I love the most about cons is you just meet people and you're like, look, I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am, but we're dressed up as characters that we recognize. Let's be friends. And it's just so nice. I love being at conventions.
Oh, I do too, man. And that's the bond that you make with people that you meet at the conventions, because you put on these outfits. And I feel like one of the coolest things is because you said, you had on green paint, you had on the t-shirt, and you're just like, okay, like this is my first cosplay. Like I'm hoping to have a good time, but then you have somebody that's in the Deathstroke armor and they're like, hey, can I get a picture with you? And that's the thing that I love, because my first convention that I went to, not first convention, but the first time I had went to a convention and I cosplayed as Big Smoke from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And I was just I'm just like, man, this is going to be a bunch of young people here. They're not going to know who I am. And then people were, asking to take pictures with me. I was just like, okay, like this is dope, man. So I just think it's cool, especially, for that being your first time. You know what I'm saying? I have a future cosplay where I'm going to be doing Cyborg. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
I'm looking forward to that, man. Like, ever since it's come to cosplaying, like actual costumes, because I feel like it's a difference from when you first start, because you see where you started at and you see where you are now. You know what I'm saying? So it's a huge leap. You level up, just like it says in the background. And I just want to, like, my future cosplays are Cyborg, Beast from X-Men the animated series, and what was the third one? Choji from Naruto Shippuden.
Oh, nice.
I mean, like I like Choji and the original Naruto, but then once he was a Shippuden, I was just like, okay, Choji's the man now. You know,
now he's the beast. Yeah.
So, I have one more cosplay question for you, and then after that, we can kind of segue into something else. But I want to ask you now, what has been one of your favorite moments from attending a con and cosplaying?
One of my favorite moments was the day that I met John Wesley Shipp, just because, like, that was the first time I'd ever actually met somebody at a con. Usually when I went there, it's kind of like, yeah, these people are cool, but there's no one that I'm like super, passionate about. I met Jason David Frank one time, the original Green Power Ranger, but that was more for my friend, just because, like, I was never really a Power Rangers guy. But like when I met him, I was like super nervous because I'm in this Flash costume, so like that's cheesy as hell, but like, oh well. And I'm like, oh man, I hope he thinks I'm not a weirdo. And I'm like psyching myself out. My friends just stand there like, dude, relax. It's going to be fine. And then he looks, and then I finally, I get up to him and he kind of looks at me and and just goes, hey, Barry. And I was like, oh, I'm gone. So, and then after that, like, he was just such a nice guy such a warm personality. We took a bunch of pictures. Like, I was only expecting to get like one picture, but we ended up getting like 7. And then the one, I just got a picture of me and him, side by side, and I was satisfied with that. And so I was going to leave, and he was like, wait a second, let's get a picture with the running pose. And I was like, what? Yeah. I didn't even think of that. So my favorite picture that I got with him is a picture of me and him doing the running pose. And I've got my helmet on with his signature on it. And one of my friends actually like put a really nice like red lightning background on it and framed it for me. And so it's just like, it's something I look at and I'm like, I can't believe that was almost 4 years ago. Like, it seems so recent. That was in like April of 2018 when that happened. But yeah, I have that framed picture. I don't have it with me right now. It's at my parents' house, but I just love looking at that and being like, that was a great time. That was such a fun.
It was. And it's I know you said that it was 4 years ago, but a lot of people don't even say 2020 even happened. It's a blur. So
it was just
but yeah, that's awesome that you were able to meet him and you were able to get him to sign the helmet and whatnot. Because now we can segue into some other stuff outside of cosplay, but Like the Flash, you know, I still watch the show, even though it has its ups and its downs. I still watch the show. And I remember when season 1 came out and I saw that he was going to be playing Barry's dad. I was just like, yo, like, that's cool, because I did watch the original Flash when it was on TV back in the day. And I'm showing my age, but I remember I was a kid watching it. And so I knew who that was when he was on the Flash, and I didn't know that he was going to be up there. And how cool was it to see him return as the Flash when they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yes, that was so good. I remember when that trailer dropped and the internet just went wild.
Yeah, it was good. Have you had a chance to watch the Apocalypse episodes of the Flash?
Yes, I did. It's been a little while, but yeah, they were good.
Yeah, they were. I mean, and I feel like that season 8 was a good way to start the season off compared to season 7. I know that, you know, because of the pandemic and whatnot, like they weren't able to utilize everything, utilize all the resources and whatnot. Season 7, man, I don't know. It was the first time where I was just like, man, I feel like I'm about to start tuning out, because, you know, a lot of people tuned out of the Flash back, I want to say season 3, season 4, you know, and I was just like, man, like, I just hope this season 8, I hope it starts off with a bang, and it did. You know what I'm saying? We got to see the Atom again. We got to see Black Lightning. I mean, it was just awesome. And then the host, and hey, we talking spoilers. If you haven't watched it, I'm sorry, but to see that they did the whole reverse thing where it's like Harrison Wells was the Flash and Barry was I was just like, yo, I mean, well, not Harrison Wells, but Eobard. I thought that was cool. You know, it's they gave us the they gave us the Flashpoint that we should have got back in season 4 or 5. I think it was season 4.
Yeah, I think that checks out. Season 4 sounds about right.
Something like that. But yeah, man, I just want to see what they're going to do next. You know, since we're talking about the Flash TV show, what has been one of your favorite moments from over the years on that show?
Honestly, season 2 was just my favorite, like, season in general. I think Zoom was like one of my favorite just villains of all time. I thought he was like, I think he was one of the most intimidating villains. And I actually told Teddy Sears, the actor, this, and he was telling me, he was like, yeah, it's crazy because, like, I'm just really a blank canvas, you know, like all the special effects and like the sound editing, like those are the people who kind of make it as if you haven't. But the whole like death scene with his father, I thought that was, I mean, it was sad obviously, but I was like, this is one of the most emotionally like real moments that I've seen in one of these shows in a long time. Because like a lot of the shows, you know, they will do a little bit with some sad moments, but they try not to focus too hard on it. But I was like, this hurt to watch, especially because like, you know, it's gonna happen, but you're just like, oh man, I really hope something happens. But it's like, nah, man, he can't save everybody. And that's just a thing that heroes have to accept, is like, yeah, you know, you can be as fast as you want, but you're not going to be able to save everybody. So I just thought that season 2 was the most like emotionally real moment. And then the finale was just like everything I could have asked for.
Yeah. Season 2 was, it was really good. For me, the scene that had me crying was on season 1 when Harrison Wells revealed that he was Eobard, the Cisco, and Cisco was sitting there crying. I was just like, yo, like this show, oh my god, like, I don't know what happened, but it used to be really good. And I feel like that they need to have like another like major death, kind of like how you were saying with his dad, because we really haven't seen that for real on the show. You know, I know that I think it was season 3 where Iris was supposed to die, and you know, things ended up changing and whatnot. But I know with Apocalypse, when they said that Joe was dead, I was just like, oh wow, like I couldn't believe it. But then you find out it was all because of Flashpoint and all that stuff. So I mean, it was cool to see him back. But I do think like having like a major character die could really do something with the show. But to move along from the Flash, I want to ask you, like, what are some of your hobbies that you're into when you're not cosplaying?
So for one, I really like to cook. That's something that I like to do a lot. I cook a lot for my house up here. You know, we got 6 people living in the house in total, so I like to make dinner for them whenever I can. Another thing is I'm an actor. Nice. I've been in a lot of shows all throughout high school. I was in musicals all throughout high school. Even in college right now, I've been in 2 productions so far. as an actor. I may or may not be in a third. I had auditions yesterday, so we'll see where that goes. If not, though, I'm not. Yeah. So I really like acting, which helps me a lot with some of my TikTok being think like that. So yeah, I like to cook. I like to act. I'm also an archer. You know, me and my dad like to get our compound bows and just, I don't hunt or anything. I don't have the patience for that, but I just like, you know, target shooting. That's always fun. But I am a college student though, so that takes up a lot of my time.
Yeah, but hey, you got to make time to do the things that you love, and I mean, and you do that. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's really cool. And to piggyback off of, you know, you being an actor, have you ever thought about either getting into voice acting?
I have, yeah, I've actually have considered it in the past. Whenever I have a little bit more free time, it's something that I'll probably make more steps into. But yeah, it is something that I've been looking a lot into. So that would be something I would be very open to.
That's awesome. Yeah, because we interview a lot of voice actors, and you know, when people watch this interview, they'll be like, yeah, you know, I asked Steelcity if he wanted to be one. So it's like, this was the first interview, and look how far he's come. I think that it would be cool too, since you know, you're an actor, if you were able to be on The Flash. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like
I've had dreams.
and it's like you could be one, because it's one of the cool things with wrestlers, where it's like they'll show a picture of when they were younger and they were with one of their favorite wrestlers, and it's like then they make it to WWE or AEW or another one of the bigger companies, and it's like they're wrestling against their favorite wrestler, or they're tagging with them. I think it would be cool if, you know, you have that picture where it's like you and John at the con, and then now you're working with him on The Flash, and y'all are doing the same pose. And it's just like, yeah, dreams really do come true. So I think that that's really awesome that you do all of that stuff, man. And you know, I can't, you know, finish wrapping this thing up without mentioning that this is the birthday episode of Who's That Cosplayer, because my birthday is this week. And yeah, thank you. I can't believe that I forgot to mention it in the intro, because, you know, I wanted to make it all about you. But, you know, now that we're at the end of the episode, it's like my birthday's coming up. I'm celebrating it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's been a good year. Your boy's turning 33. I know I don't look it. People tell me that all the time, but
hey, look good.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. So one last question that I have for you, and then we can wrap this thing up, is what is some advice that you would give to anybody that wants to get into cosplaying?
My advice is literally just start where you are. Because when I first started cosplaying, I was very overwhelmed, because it was like, I don't know how to do wigs. I don't know how to sew anything. I don't know how to make props. I don't know what to look for in context. I didn't know what I was doing. And it's very overwhelming to think about all these different aspects of cosplaying and dive into it. But the thing that you need to understand is that that's not all required. Like, if your cosplay is just some costume that you got at like a party city or something, like, good, that's a good start. Start where you are and take it one step at a time. You know, focus on, you know, you can start doing a little bit of makeup if you want, and then you can work on wigs, and then you don't have to do everything at once. So my advice for people that are like, you know, struggling is just like, pick one thing and focus on that first. Get that, maybe not even to perfection, but like get to a point where you feel comfortable with it, and then go to something else. So like me, I'm doing that now, where it's like, you know, I didn't really know like where to buy cosplay. So I got better with that. And then now it's like, I'm kind of focusing a little bit on like contacts, and now I'm getting into some wig styling and some makeup. So just start where you are, focus one, and take it one step at a time. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Of that. And you know, that's something that I always say too. It's just like, if you wear a Halloween costume and that's your first cosplay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Because that's your gateway. And a lot of the cosplayers that I interview, they always say that, you know, Halloween was their gateway into cosplay. So it's just like, you know, wear that costume, go to the con, have a fun time. Don't let people gatekeep you. Don't let people make you feel bad because you're wearing a costume from Party City. At the end of the day, it's still a costume, and cosplay is about having fun. So thank you, Steelcity, so much for joining me up here on the birthday episode of Who's That Cosplayer. So before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
My main social media is TikTok at Steelcity Scarecrow, but I am hoping to start posting more on Instagram, also at Steelcity Scarecrow. So those are my main two platforms that you can find me on.
Awesome. And you know where you can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks at @KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Hop in those comments. Wish me a happy birthday. Thank you again, Steel City, for joining me. Like I tell everybody every week, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.